Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be watching Laura Fryer's latest video called My Thoughts on Game Pass. We're also going to be looking at and talking about Battlefield 6 Destruction improved after dropping PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. We're also going to talk about more because the embargo lifts at, I think, 11 a.m. this morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So we'll talk more about Battlefield as the embargo lifts and people start talking about the actual game. We're going to talk about this year's Fortnitemares event in Fortnite adds Jason, Scooby-Doo, Ghostface, and a lot more. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we have this little video that we're going to watch called The Game EA Censored, which is Arc Raiders. And we'll have a little conversation about that. We'll probably watch that first on this morning. What's going on, chat? What's going on, Travis? Eclipse. Stealth Gaming, what's going on? Big Mo. Roic, good morning. Water Bear, good morning. Sarge, what's going on? Altern, good morning. All right, let me see what we should do first here. We did this yesterday, so let's do it again. So let me do a little poll here, see what you guys want to watch first here. What story? What story you want to talk about? We got Laura Fryer's video. We got Battlefield stuff. Battlefield stuff. And then we got Fortnite stuff. Or we got Arc Raiders. There we go. Let me see what you guys want to talk about first. There's a poll up for you. So what story would you like to talk about or watch first? You got Laura Fryer's video. We have the Arc Raiders canceled video. We have the Fortnitemares, and we have the Battlefield 6 stuff. Battlefield 6... Not that I want to sway the vote in any way, shape, or form, but if we talk about Battlefield early, we're going to be talking about Battlefield again later in the show once all the embargo stuff lifts. So, looks like right now Arc Raiders is the thing here. Now, I believe Dustin is the one that posted the video in Discord. Let me see. I think it's Dustin, though. Yeah, Dustin posted it. I'm not going to watch that video, but we're going to watch the actual source video because that's Azacross's video reacting to this video. So we're actually watching, and links are in the description down below. It's pretty close right now. Laura Fryer's 50-50 and Arc Raiders 56-54. Okay, we'll get a couple more seconds. All right, we'll end the poll in just a few. And there we go. So the Arc Raiders video. All right, so this is a video that the game EA censored. Okay, the game EA censored. Now, I've talked about this in the past, about the people leaving DICE Studios and starting their own company, and they just, they wanted to get away from EA. It seems like, I don't know if this is true in any way, shape, or form. What's going on, Robert Jones? Okay. There's some animosity that's still there at EA, okay? So much so that you'll understand this once we watch this video, okay? So it's a short video. It's a short video. It's only 4 minutes and 25 seconds long. Let's watch this, and then we'll get. I'll give you my thoughts, and then we'll get your guys' thoughts as well in chat.
Two friends noticed something very strange. They launched the EA app to download Battlefield 6, then started DMing each other on the platform. While they were chatting, one of them tried to mention Arc Raiders, but he couldn't. He tried it again and again. No, the platform just wouldn't let the name go through. It was replaced with a string of hashtags instead. When I first heard about it,
Can you just think about that for a second, right? The company, this could be two ways you could look at this, right? Two ways you could look at this, but the second one I'm going to say is highly unlikely, okay? Two ways is that EA is so scared of what their ex-developers that started a studio up and they're coming out around the exact same time as Battlefield 6 that they want to censor, okay? Okay, that they want to censor this because they're scared. Attempt number two is they're so buddy-buddy with each other, which I think is highly unlikely, is that there's someone at EA that is friends with people that are on their own studio and they're hyping up Arc Raiders more because of this story. But to think about this for a second, to go down that path, is that there's two people that they decided that they were going to have a conversation in the EA app and then open this and expose this to have this happen so more people talked about it, which then has this like snowball effect, which I don't think is likely to happen. I think the first one is very likely to happen, where EA is very scared of what Arc Raiders can do because the developers over there, between the finals and now Arc Raiders, are making better games than EA themselves. But let's continue.
didn't believe it. It sounded unreal. Why would the EA app, the platform of one of the biggest companies in the industry, block a specific game's name? A name that doesn't break any rules in any way whatsoever. And
right, it's not like it's Suicide Squad, right? Where like Twitter and stuff and YouTube will censor that because of the word suicide. Even me saying that, it might get censored now, right? It's not a bad word. It's just Arc Raiders.
all the names in the world, why would it be Arc Raiders? So I decided to test it myself to see if that was actually the case.
All right, so he's typed Battlefield. He's typed Call of Duty. Right? So think about that for a second. Obviously, Call of Duty is a much bigger competitor. Fortnite's a much bigger competitor to Battlefield. They haven't censored Call of Duty. They haven't censored Fortnite. They haven't censored Grand Theft Auto. Okay? Arc Raiders gets censored. So this goes back to option one, right? There's people at EA that are so scared of Arc Raiders or so angry and mad, have animosity towards the developers that left DICE to go open their own studio.
Yep, it was true. Arc Raiders really was censored. I was shocked. And
look at this. It doesn't matter how he types it.
Immediately tweeted about it. But why? What could be the reason EA did this for Arc Raiders? To find out, let's rewind to 2018, when the team behind Arc Raiders was founded. The core members of this team were actually ex-DICE devs, the studio working on Battlefield under EA.
Let's just salute. Let's salute the old Battlefield, because it's not going to be there except for that last one, Battlefield 2042.
There were the names behind the OG Battlefield games. In 2018, the majority of the talent who built some of the biggest games in the series decided to leave DICE. Patrick, the former DICE CEO...
And I think that's the crux right there. Patrick Soderlund left, and EA was... They're like, we'll get you. Right? It's like William Shatner in Gone. Like they're like screaming Soderlund. Like their EA is super pissed at him.
An EA executive and over 50 developers, including other key names, left the studio and created their own, which they named Embargo.
That's a nice studio. Can I just say?
The former DICE CEO and EA executive and over 50 developers.
Like, look at this studio. Got an old building.
Including other key names, left the studio.
Look at that. Got an espresso machine, coffee bar. Got some breakfast up there. Yeah. Remember, support the devs. yeah.
And created their own, which they named Embargo Studio.
Look at this. Look at that lobby. This is not AI generated. This is literally their studio. Yeah, because they're in Europe. Yeah, they're in Europe. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Arc Studios. Here's the thing. The Embargo founders weren't just names on the credits list. They were pillars. Anderson managed Frostbite tech that powered Battlefield's signature destruction and large-scale warfare, while Stromberg's audio direction gave Bad Company.
And this is why Arc Raiders has such good sound quality, right? This is why the destructibility in the finals is so good, right? These guys were the top of the pillars of Battlefield, and this is why they left them with Battlefield 2042, where 80% of the people didn't know what the hell they were doing with it, left them to die, and EA is like, God, they're super pissed. Nope, no one can say Arc Raiders in our chat.
And Battlefield 3, their thunderous cinematic identity. When that caliber of leadership and institutional memory walks,
I just told you why, Jax. I just told you why they're holding a grudge. The top pillars left. Okay, they left the studio, and that's why you got 2042. 80% of the people that made Battlefield 2042 had never ever made a Battlefield game before. The main pillars left the company, left EA, left Android Wilson holding in their hand, right? And this is why they're holding a grudge.
Out the door.
Well, I should say, this is why I think they're holding a grudge.
The ripple effects show up later. And they did. Battlefield 5 struggled with content and had its live service support end surprisingly early in 2020, leaving players feeling shortchanged. Then Battlefield 2042 arrived, and it launched in a very rough technical state, and missing some very important core features that defined the series. The contrast between the past was hard to ignore. After the veterans left, DICE and EA struggled to deliver the same consistent quality the franchise was known for.
That's right.
The departure of these guys wasn't subtle. It was a big one. When high-profile teams leave to build competing projects, you tend to see corporate sensitivities show up. That history matters for what happened next. So, back to censorship. After the community noticed the Arc Raiders blog,
that was a nice little synopsis of what's going on here.
And my posts clearly reached the right people, very soon after, the chat filter disappeared. Nothing summons companies faster than a viral tweet. When we tried the next day, we could...
Now, this goes into part 2 of my option, which is maybe they're buddy-buddy and it was good marketing, because you'll see in a second, right? Because I saw the video.
Type Arc Raiders just fine. After EA rolled it back quickly, both sides remained silent. Neither EA nor Embargo has made any public comment.
Because maybe, just maybe, okay, EA was like, all right, you guys did so much for us, we'll throw you a bone. They are a bigger company, right? Now, again, option 2 I don't think is happening.
Explaining what happened. What actually caused it is still up in the air. It could have been a corporate move or an automated filter gone wrong.
I don't know why it would be a technical issue. I don't know why it would be a technical issue. I think it's the first one.
Corporate move.
I think it's a corporate move. Right? 100% think it's a corporate move. I think it was a stupid move. Okay? But it is weird because the way he's like, 2 people were talking in the EA app and they happened to talk about Arc Raiders and Arc Raiders got shadow banned. Right? And it's like, okay.
Or an automated filter gone wrong. My take? It feels a bit too targeted to be a random glitch. Technical issues usually hit categories or words, not a single game.
That's true. Not a specific game, but a broad stroke of game, right?
Title. That kind of precision looks suspicious. Either way, it sparked a clash right before the launch season.
Which again is good though, right? Because there is bad publicity, but at the same time, Battlefield 6 is still in the news. We're still talking about it. We're having conversations about it. It's the embargo lifts today, right? It comes out tomorrow. This is the biggest hype for Battlefield game in a decade.
Now, both studios are locked in for October. Battlefield 6 launches on October 10 and Arc Raiders on October 30.
So think about this in a different way, right? Let me put this in a different way. Remember when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out in theaters. Two completely different movies, right? But they joined forces to drive people to the theater, right? Where if you get this, you can get this. You watch both movies type of thing. And remember this now, that EA, and again, we're just having conversation here. I'm not saying it's one way or the other. I'm just giving you options to think about and why would they do certain things like this. Now, remember, when these guys were with EA, when Embark was part of EA tried multiple times to take down Call of Duty, right? By taking Battlefield and Battlefront or Battlefield and Titanfall, they always try to do like the 1-2 punch to try to take away money from people that are trying to get Call of Duty. Now, I'm not saying that this is what they're doing, but I do find it interesting that an ex-EA developer made their own studio. EA censors their studio. Could be an animosity, could be a joint effort to, you know what, we never could get one up. We can never get one up on Activision Blizzard. So one comes out on the 10th, one comes out October 30th, and then Call of Duty comes out just 2 weeks after that. And if people come in and Battlefield at the very beginning, super hype, people love that. Arc Raiders comes out, they're doing a beta right in the middle of it on the 17th through the 19th, open beta. And then 2 weeks later, they come out on October 30th. This is, again, a 1-2 punch. Yes, it's completely two separate companies now, but this company over here used to work for EA, and they could never, ever get over one on Call of Duty and Activision. So maybe, just maybe, they're working together to hype up the stuff for both their games to get that little edge over Call of Duty.
Once players get their hands on the games, it won't be about a behind-the-scenes drama or chat filters. It'll come down to how good the games actually are. And with both games dropping in the same month, it'll be a head-to-head showdown between ex-colleagues turned rivals. If you're excited about Arc Radiers, you should definitely subscribe, because I'll cover everything you need, just like I did here in this video, breaking down all the new content coming to the game.
Okay, so now what I want to show you, what I want to show you now is I want to show you a tweet. I want to show you a tweet of Arc Raiders. Let's see here. Arc Raiders. They did a tweet the other day, which is this right here. Right? They did a tweet right here. This is from the Arc Raiders official account. Now, this is funny. Okay? This is funny. Okay? Well, still on track to release Arc Raiders on October 30th. They don't say their name, but they do an advertisement of Arc Raiders. Now think about this. Okay? One thing that I like to say is that I do believe there's two options. I believe that the option one is my choice, where I think that Arc Raiders, there's animosity, and I do believe there's animosity between them leaving, big guys, all leaving, 6 or 7 of them leaving that company, starting their own company, and then making good games with the finals, and now Arc Raiders coming out, okay? But I do believe that because there's animosity and this happened, I don't believe that all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're going to go in the chat and I think this happened, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, this is a good marketing campaign. Like, think about a good marketing campaign. Like he said at the end of the video, people in the industry together that were working together are now rivals. It's like a boxing match. It's like a wrestling match, okay? You build up this storyline, right? You build up this storyline and you make it the little guy versus the big guy, right? The little team versus the big team, right? Otherwise, there's really nothing there. It's just Battlefield versus Arc Raiders, and they're not the same. But it does make for a good story. And working in the film industry for 20 years and working in the television, this sounds like a perfectly designed thing to hype up not only Battlefield 6, but to also hype up Arc Raiders. Because again, they're in it together because they're both coming out at the exact same time, 1-2 punch right before Call of Duty. And Call of Duty and Activision have been the top of the top for all these years. And I have to think that the developers at Embark, when they were over at Battlefield and with DICE, that they couldn't They could never beat them. And technically, they still would just beat them this time, but they could work together if it was meant this way or if they design it this way, where they called in a favor, right? Said, hey, can you block out our name inside of this, kind of cultivate the story, and then leak it out on the internet to be like, hey, now that sounds very planned and whatnot, but I wouldn't put it past anybody. But I'm going to go with the more simplistic thing. I think that EA had animosity towards them, still do. They got caught. They opened it back up, and then Arc Raiders was smart enough to pivot and use it as an advertisement and marketing because they know the diehard fans see this stuff, and it would be big with them, right? Because Arc Raiders is not going to have 20 million people play it. I think it will have a lot of people playing it, but it's not going to be this. I don't think Arc Raiders is going to be bigger than Call of Duty. I don't think Arc Raiders is going to be bigger than Battlefield. But I do believe that Arc Raiders will be one of the biggest extraction shooters ever to come out because of the people that followed them and know that they're from DICE. They made great Battlefield games in the past, and they're going to go with them because they support the developers, right? They know they're fans of their past work. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think? Do you think this is planned marketing from the beginning between these two companies to try to take down Activision Blizzard and Call of Duty? Do you think this is something that literally EA had problems with and just upset at the developers that left EA and started their own company? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. So what do you think, chat? What do you think? Do you think it's option one, right? Well, actually, let's take a poll. Let's do a poll. We have these polls now that they've added, so let's do it. Okay, so let's do the poll. Join together. Oh, hold on. Join together. There's only two options. I'm doing the two options. I probably screwed up on the thing, right? So what do you think happened? EA is mad at Arc Raider devs, or they joined together to take down COD? Which one do you think? Of the two options that I said, obviously, I don't think there's a right one or a wrong one. I just think it's an interesting story. I think I saw this and I was like, it's very interesting. What's going on, Winzo? Morning, Wonder Rose. Charles Hawk, what's going on? Activision blocked Arc Raiders from in-game chat. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Did Marathon block Arc Raiders 2? There was another story we did earlier this year, didn't we, Water, about another company blocking them? Waterbear says 100% that they are pissed. The scorn ex-girlfriend that's mad at you has got something new and shiny. Yeah. I think it's EA's mad at the devs. That's what I think. But I can see the other way as well, Water, right? I can see them working together. They could have they could have left on amicable circumstances, right? They left and they said, hey, thanks for doing all the work for us, all these years. We appreciate you. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you, right? Maybe they didn't actually hate them leaving or mad at them, right? And they're still buddy-buddy, right? Maybe Soderlund picked up the phone and was like, hey, I got a great idea, okay? What if you guys, block us out? We get this going a little bit to have this little battle between EA and Arc Raiders, ex-devs, or whatever else. I've been on shoots where they've done crazy shit and come up with stories and stuff like that to manipulate people into thinking, right? Again, wrestling, boxing, MMA, they all build up these fights and stuff like that because it gets people hyped up for these things, right? So they could have made the call. They could have made the call and been like, "Yeah, you know what? Why don't we try to take down COD one more time? Well, I know we're not together, but you got a good game over there, and we couldn't do it with Titanfall. Maybe, just maybe, we can do it this time." Yes, Salty says Andrew is shaking his fist every time he hears the game. He's like, "Arc Raiders, ah!" Yeah, he's con. Andrew Wilson has never had a buddy in his life. It's the NWO of video games. I don't know. I feel like there's a plausible circumstance for both things. Again, I do believe the first one is that's where my gut's going with. That they're mad at them, they did it, they got caught, and then Arc Raiders turned around and said, "Let's use this as marketing." It's brilliant. I mean, it is. This is brilliant. Okay, this is brilliant. Had that little story leak. People are following it. This is brilliant right here. Yeah, whatever it is, Jax, right? Maybe they wanted to publish it. Maybe they wanted to do stuff, and they're like, "No, we got it." Who knows? Actually, are they publishing themselves? Is Embark publishing the game themselves? Embark Studios, yeah, they're doing it themselves. Yeah, so they're publishing themselves. Maybe they wanted that deal. Maybe they wanted that deal, and they're like, can we publish it? And they're like, no. Maybe that's why they're upset. Maybe they're upset not because they left, but that they couldn't publish it because they wanted their cash. They wanted that money, you know. Winzo says, I think that also Arc Raiders is going to be give more eyes on the extraction shooters, especially for console when there also really isn't any out there. And also the game definitely makes me more inviting for casuals. 100%. And I think it's going to be very popular, but I don't know if it'll be... I think it will be the most popular extraction shooter, but I don't think it'll be on the lines of a run for the money for Battlefield or like 4 million, 5 million units for Arc Raiders would be like gigantic. I don't think Arc Raiders gets to like 12 to 15 million copies. You know, that's just me. But again, maybe the extraction shooter that they've created all of a sudden becomes fantastic. And it's the leader. And all of a sudden people stop playing Battlefield 6, people stop playing Call of Duty, and they go play Arc Raiders. We'll see. I'm going to give it a shot on the 17th or the 19th when they have the open beta, see how it is, because I haven't played it yet. Arbor says, Ismail is a brilliant take on Hades formula mixed with beat 'em up. I watched that video you guys were talking about in Discord, so I put it on and looked at it, and I was like, looks pretty good. I'm not interested. I'm still playing like Towerborn, like that beat 'em up type of thing to the side like that. I can hear you in the background, Mike. There's two of you. You can hear me in the background. There's two of me. I don't know how that's possible. I don't have any speakers with my voice coming out of it except my voice. Like I have no external speakers shooting my voice out at me. So I don't know how you're hearing me twice. Anybody else hearing me twice, or is it just Mo? Let's see. EA is NWO. Embark is the Wolf Pack. Warbear says maybe 30. They know Arc will cut into the few millions away from Battlefield 6, right? But it's also going to cut in a few millions away from maybe Call of Duty, right? It's my evil clone. Yeah, I don't have anything coming out, Mo. So if you're hearing me, you might have two tabs open as Eclipse is saying. Aku says, it seems Lord Andrew that in your hate you forced the dev away and they made a new studio. No. Lord Veta. Rise. I say Arc will sell 8 to 10 million And if it's the popular with the streamers, it'll get 15. That's huge. Let's just put that in perspective. Hold on a second. The number one, okay, is what? Tarkov? Extraction shooters. Tarkov is the number one, right? Escape from Tarkov is the number one as of right now. So, total sales, if they report it, while the exact lifetime total sales of Escape from Tarkov are not public, financial reports for Battle State Games, the developers, show that the game generated over $88 million in revenue in 2021 and earned a gross profit of $2.4 million in a year ending in January of 2023. After adding over 90,000 new paid players in 2022, the cost of sales was roughly $79.5 million for the year that ended in January 2023. And the company's selling companies on an average of 93. So what do we think here? 21, 86, 900,000 new players. Gross profits, 2.4 million. Net profit expenses. They never state. Okay, so let's just say 93. How much does Tarkov cost? 93 million. $93 for their copy of the game. New player paid an average of 902,000. So $1 million. How do we got here? 88 million. Okay. So 88 million. Let's go from that number. 88 million. And how much is Escape from Tarkov? What's the price point of Escape from Tarkov? $50 standard edition. Yeah. Okay. So Escape from Tarkov, very rough numbers here. Very rough numbers. Okay. Sold around 2 million copies, let's say. 2 million to 2.5 million. Okay. That's the number one extraction shooter, Water. So for Arc Raiders to get to 8 to 10 million would be, I mean, that would be extraordinary. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but that's a big number, especially for a niche genre that Tarkov is leading with around 2.5 million copies. I think COD has taken this year off, releasing the junk this year. Perhaps. And even if they do, that's just good for the business, isn't it? Isn't that good for the business? Right? Competition makes other people start working better for their game. Battlefield 2042 suffered 4 years ago, right? And now maybe we have a better game with Battlefield 6. Maybe. Okay? So if Call of Duty hits the shitter, the next Call of Duty comes out, they're like, well, we have to make it better. I swear to God, I can hear you. I don't know how you're hearing me, man. Does anybody else hear me? Okay. Anybody else hear me? Double. Double. They're attempting to bring extractions to the mainstream, right? This is their chance? Sure. No, I what I'm saying is it's going to do like the best. That's why I'm saying I give them 5 million. You're saying 8 to 10. Maybe, but the extraction genre itself, like, I'll give you this. 8 to 10 a couple years down the road. 8 to 10 at launch? I don't know, man. Cuz you're going to get your big sales in the beginning, and then it's going to drop off. And then as they have updates or whatever, it'll slowly go up if they come out with something big. Now, if you put PvE, if this is a PvE game from Arc Raiders, I would agree with you 100%. 100% Water. If this was their original game of PvE, I would 100% agree with you. 8 to 10, I would say book it. Extraction, that's what's giving me a little, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll say 5. And that's 2 times more than Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov. Windows says, but remember, 30, Tarkov is a very, very hardcore game to get into. Arc Raiders, when I played it at tech test, seems like more of everyone type of game. It's still an extraction. Still an extraction. And a lot of people don't like to play extractions, and a lot of people don't like to play PvP. I don't care how casual they make it. Okay? 8 to 10 million, that's going to be a big sale. Waterbear says clip it. I will. There it is. It's on the screen. 8 to 10, clip it. It's there. Don't worry. If you're right, I'll let you know. Mo is reeling in from the Game Pass price. He's crashing out. He's hearing double audio. I wonder what made them change it. If it's the OG formula, close to H. It could be that if they made, and again, I don't know what their plans are for microtransactions and whatnot. Water, if they have any, I don't know. But maybe they decided instead of making a $70 game, let's make a extraction $50 game and then charge microtransactions, and we'll make more money in the long run. Besides the, if we made a $70 game with no microtransaction type of stuff, I don't know. Get in with the goodwill, make a good game, bring them in with people, and then maybe do microtransactions down the line. I don't know. Again, I don't know what they're if they have microtransactions coming to the game or not. I'm just speaking why they changed it from PvE to PvP, VE. Hunt Showdown is probably the most polished and populated extraction on console at the moment. Do we know what the Hunt Showdown got? Hunt Showdown total sales. Okay, Hunt Showdown has sold at least 6.5 million units, and the game generated over 153.8 million in gross revenue, according to the data from Sensor Tower. Steam charts also indicates the owner estimates for the Steam alone around 6.54 million. So, if that's the case, here's the breakdown of available sales-related data. Units sold, 6.5 million units. Steam owner estimate, 6.54. So, hold on a second. Units sold, total, 6.5. So, 6.5 million copies sold, right? Here, let me bring this up on the screen. Right, 6.5 million sales, units sold for Hunt Showdown, right? Based on what you're saying here, Charles, most polished and populated extraction on console at the moment, okay? They have 6.54 million owners. So only 400,000 people have bought it on console? Is that what I'm getting at? Steam ownership alone, right? How does this make sense? Units sold over 6.5 million units. Steam owners estimate 6.54 million owners, right? So how many people are playing on console? That doesn't make sense. Again, we don't know the exact numbers. It's good numbers, 6.5 million. How much is that game, though? And they added PvP. It went down a few notches for me. For me too. Windows says they said they interviewed that they just realized that it wasn't fun for them in the end, and then they're also making something that is also a little fun for them and play when making it. Okay? To be fair, Hunt Showdown didn't click with me. I like the map, though. Clem says, I think looter shooters are expensive to make, and they saw that and didn't want to do it. Yeah, they didn't want to make maybe a Destiny type of game. Less not to say minimal viable product, but they said, how much work do we have to put in? And look at the landscape of looter shooters. Do we want that, or do we want the extraction? Robert Jones says Delta Force is free and the player count is low on console. Travis, actually, I'm pretty decent in the Hunt Showdown. Okay, console owners don't buy games, remember? I mean, the map of Arc Radiers is so much more detailed than anything else than the First Descendant. And they also the facts because I have 500 hours in the First Descendant. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but it doesn't. Again, everyone thinks like the extraction shooters is like large, gigantic community, and I don't. I mean, I'm not saying it's not popular. It's popular, but it's in a niche community. It's in a niche, and there's a lot of them. That's another thing, right? So people playing Hunt Showdown, people playing, the one we just talked about, Hunt Showdown, Tarkov. There's a couple other extractions. Let's just say there's 10 million people playing extractions across all extractions. Now you throw another one in the mix. Why am I going to leave something I already have that I'm enjoying to go to this other game? And even if all the 10 million people, half of them leave, 5 million people, that's a lot, man. And then other people have never played an extraction before maybe come in. It's gonna be rough. We'll see. Hopefully it does well. I'll let you know on the 17th and 19th when I play it and let you know it's good or not good. All right. 1041. Let's watch Laura Fryer's video now. Okay? Because it's a 13-minute video. We'll go past 11. We'll let the stories accumulate for Battlefield 6. Then we'll go into the Battlefield 6 stories and then start talking about the embargo lifting and what people are saying about Battlefield 6. Okay? If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay? We're going to watch Laura Fryer's latest video called My Thoughts on Xbox Game Pass.
Microsoft is going to make a game console.
We weren't sure how we were going to do it. Risk was enormous. Microsoft was this dominant company of the era, but success or even survival was anything but preordained.
We started to ship quality games.
And at the same time, we weren't doing anything in the console space.
When Xbox started, I was skeptical. I wasn't sure we should pursue it.
I think everyone was skeptical. Everybody. People are still skeptical.
You see, we had just turned the corner with PC gaming, and the Internet Gaming Zone was doing really well. We had over 13 million users, and it was the most popular place online to play video games. I thought it was insane that we would abandon our foundation of gaming on Windows to chase the console business. But I knew I was biased. I was one of the founders of Microsoft Game Studios and the producer of the Internet Gaming Zone. I had worked incredibly hard to ship that platform in 9 months. At the same time, I also knew that it was easy to chase the shiny new thing and crash your business. Microsoft was not my first job. Before joining Microsoft, I had worked at a lot of different companies, and one of them was this crazy company that would sell juicers. It was called The Juice Man.
I actually remember that.
The company didn't last because the leadership destroyed it with what seemed like a simple change, moving their business into the retail market. Our original
Why does the 90s look like the 70s now? Like, what's happening there?
business model was running in.
Look at those eyebrows. Look at his eye. The dude's got bigger. He's got more hair on his eyebrows than I have on my head. Holy shit. At 75 years old.
Infomercial on
He could brush that shit back.
TV and then talking with the potential customers on the phone to close the sale. Part of what we were selling was a lifestyle. People would call us on the phone. They'd ask us what our favorite recipes were. We'd talk about juicing and getting healthy. It was a high-touch engagement. When we went to retail, that high touch went away. People would see our more expensive juicer.
Is that David Allen Greer? Oh, that's. I was like, wait a minute. That's David Allen Greer and Jim Carrey. What a great show. In Living Color. Great show back in the day.
next to a cheaper one, and we'd lose.
I took my whole family on long trips like this.
Well, wow, man. Where's your family now, Jay?
They're all dead. I outlived them all.
That's the beauty of the juice, Lisa. Wow, that's incredible.
Whenever you want to make a big change in your strategy, you've got to ask what it's going to do to the business. What problem are you trying to solve? You shouldn't remove the fence before you know why it's there. And this is one of the...
I want to push a little bit here, right? Because she's talking about their business model, and then they had a switch, right? But they didn't know what was there. Here's the thing with the internet, okay? The internet wasn't there back in the day when they made the consoles. Because if it was, we would be having a completely different conversation if the internet was what it is today 20 years ago. The internet was there 20 years ago, okay? But it wasn't what it is today. So what Microsoft is doing, and take Microsoft out of the picture, say a company, just a company, decided that this is their business model, but they don't want to do it anymore, and they decide to go elsewhere, okay? They decide they want to go elsewhere, okay? So 65% of you real fast said that EA is mad at Arc Raiders. So there you go. All right. So if just a company, generalistic company, was like, you know what, we have to change our business model because look at I'm trying to think of coffee model, right? Coffees, like just in general. It was like Starbucks, right? And Starbucks made standalone buildings, and they were in every plaza, but then now more people are taking their to-go, right? Dunkin' Donuts makes more money through the drive-thru than they do. They didn't know if it was going to work. They just switched it, and they made more money there. They still have physical stores that you can walk into, buy donuts, or go into Starbucks and buy Starbucks, but their business model changed because of drive-thru, because of cars, okay? Xbox, or the generic company that's deciding that they made this thing, this hardware, is now going this direction with Game Pass, raising the prices. People are upset. But the business is like, speaking of juicers, we've squeezed out what we think we can get from this. Okay? So we decided that we're going to go a different direction and be the first people over here trying to do it, which really they're not the first because GeForce Now has been doing it. Google went into cloud gaming, right? But it doesn't matter that you're first. It just matters, can you do it better, right? Apple didn't make the phone, but they made the first smartphone, okay? They did it better. And then everybody else jumped on board. Now everyone has a smartphone.
The challenges I think Xbox is facing right now. I'm not sure that their leadership understands what makes Xbox great.
I'll agree with that. I do believe that they're being run by a bunch of people that don't understand the gaming culture, and they just understand they want to make more money. I agree with that.
I'm not sure they're listening to their fans. They keep doubling down on decisions that make it clear that they've been in a bubble and that all of this feedback doesn't seem to reach them anymore.
I feel like the people that are on our side are not being listened to, right? So when the fans say we don't want this, but they're like, well, this is what people are doing, right? Again, the few make the profit. So they look at it and say, well, this small group of people here is willing to pay this much. So why do we need to listen to the other people when they're not paying for games or they're not buying the service, right? So like, well, these people, right? Microtransactions are bad just in general in gaming, but yet microtransactions are here and they double down, triple down, quadruple down, right? Microtransactions are bad, but yet people are paying $50 for a microtransaction. That's against what we're like, well, I don't buy a $50. You don't buy a $50. This person doesn't buy a $50. But one person buys a $50 microtransaction. They're like, well, the stats show that 10% of the people buy a $50 microtransaction. So let's put more of those in the game.
Hey, everyone. Xbox Game Pass is getting an upgrade. We've listened to your feedback, and now you have even more freedom to choose how you play the games you want.
People were pretty upset about this video, but in fairness, they got it right. I mean, they did give their fans the freedom to choose, and they have.
Yeah, they canceled. But how big of a cancel? Again, we talked about this last week. They thought about this before they put the price hike up. how many people are going to cancel, what percentage. We ran the numbers. How many people are leaving Game Pass or going down to the lower tier, and how many people are going to stay at the $30 to make up for the people that are downgrading or leaving completely.
Left. Not one fan asked for their Game Pass price to be raised by 50%, or for the price of the Xbox to go up by 30%. And this tone-deaf video is further confirmation that the bubble at Xbox is real. Leadership doesn't understand what made them great. That yes-man culture that took over in 2008 has only gotten worse. And this is the result. A crazy price increase for their fans after announcing that Game Pass had made $5 billion.
But that $5 billion, remember, if you're not a stockholder, you look at that and go, oh, they made profit, but the people are like, yeah, that's good, right? You as a gamer, let's be honest, you and me, we talk about this stuff, but them making $5 billion or them losing $3 billion, you would still buy games regardless. You would still, whatever company is showing their sales, you would still buy it because you're interested in what they're selling. You're not interested in what their stock price is unless you're a stockholder.
This strategy used to work. It used to be that in the 80s and the arcade days, this is pretty much what they were charging. My husband would take his $1 that he was supposed to be spending on his lunch, and instead of eating, he would go down to the arcade and he would play Pac-Man and Tempest. It wasn't a great deal, but it was the only deal in town. And that isn't the case anymore. Gamers have a lot of choice today. They can spend as much or as little as they can afford or desire to spend.
Jason says, will they still reach the 100 million subs by 2030? Probably not, but there's also ways to make it look like they hit it, right, Jason? Because let's just say, okay, we're in 2025 right now, 2026. Let's say by 2027, all of a sudden they take battle.net. How many people are in battle.net? I have no idea. Let's just say there's 40 million people in battle.net. They decide to take battle.net, right? And we're at 35 million now of Game Pass. Let's just say it stays at 35, okay? All of a sudden, they take battle.net and combine it into Game Pass, and now battle.net is Game Pass. All of a sudden, Game Pass, even though battle.net is now moved over here, these people that were paying over here that are still going to Microsoft, they now merge that with this, and now all of a sudden, Game Pass is at 80 million people, and now they're only 2 years away, and they're only 20 million away, right? Goals are goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I might only lose 10. I might fail at hitting my goal of losing 20 pounds, but I still lost 10, right? Goals and projections are just that. Projections and goals. I don't think they're going to hit it, but they can get definitely closer by manipulating certain things and moving certain things to make it look like they're more. PlayStation has done it. Xbox has done it, where they take these lower tier guys, just combine them into Game Pass. They did it with Gold. They added Gold into it. So anyone that was on Gold is now on Game Pass, right? Makes it look good for the stockholders, makes it look good for people. And they're like, oh, look, we got 35 million. But really, they only, let's say, had 10 million. But everyone else was on Gold. But now they put Gold into Game Pass, and now more people have Game Pass.
For over 20 years, Xbox was built around a very particular fence, the console. And it wasn't just a piece of hardware. It was the anchor. It was the anchor and the system that locked in loyalty.
Yep.
You had dedicated hardware which created lock-in. With Xbox Anywhere, that no longer exists. You had first-party exclusives like Halo, Gears of War. They drove identity. With no more exclusives, this is gone. Xbox Live turned multiplayer gaming into a hangout for your friends.
Nice one.
Hey, we make a hell of a team.
When you moved out of your dorm room, your friends were still there for their Halo LAN party on Friday. It created a place to play
He looks familiar.
games together, forever locking in loyalty. And Xbox courted developer opinion. They incorporated it into their ecosystem and rewarded third-party
Xbox loves indies, not according to one developer who can't release their game due to the continued ignorance of Xbox and Microsoft.
Publishers and developers. It was a true partnership. Xbox wasn't created to sell hardware. It was about creating a closed loop where Xbox owned the customer relationship and the developer relationship. It was bigger than just...
I think they're still doing that. But the people that are there at the beginning, the people that were at Xbox from the start, feel like, and I get it, feel like that they're being not met in the equation, right? They're being tossed out to the side for the new generation, which, again, businesses don't care about you and me. They care about the money. And if the old people or the loyal people that are buying the consoles, are paying for Game Pass, are buying in the ecosystem, there's not enough of them, right? Because they have to pivot. They have to go towards where people are going and what people are doing. And if less people are buying consoles, well, how do you sell your games if people are not buying your consoles? Well, you could make better games, but the consoles are still the consoles. And if people don't have time to play the consoles, but you make it come to them with the television sets, with the cell phones they already have in their pockets, people, they're hitting where people are. Is it going to work? I don't know, but they're $1 trillion company and they're going to pay money to find out.
Just one product. By controlling the full stack, the hardware, the operating system, the exclusive content, it gave them the ability to set the rules for players, publishers, and partners. And it worked. It created cultural identity. Xbox wasn't just a brand. It was a lifestyle. It was a point of view. It was innovation and core gaming. It was cool. And the identity wasn't built through slogans. It came from focus. It was real, and it drove ecosystem loyalty. Players didn't just buy games. They built their identity and friendships around.
Does he still have that tattoo? No, because that tattoo was fake, right? That's not a real tattoo, right? That's not a real tattoo that he had.
Through slogans.
Does he still have that tattoo? Does he lift up his arm now and he still has that tattoo?
It came from focus. It was real, and it drove ecosystem loyalty. Players didn't just buy games. They built their identity and friendships around the brand. And the more time they spent inside the system, the harder it became to leave.
Experienced anything like that?
Okay, what she just said there. Hold on a second.
Loyalty. Players didn't just buy games. They built their identity and friendships around the brand. And the more time they spent inside the system, the harder it became to leave.
Now, I want to take that, what she just said. The more time you spend in the system, the harder it is to leave. Game Pass is doing that right now. Digital game ownership is doing that right now. If you're on PlayStation, if you already own all of your games on PlayStation, let's say the latest, greatest game comes out on a new system. Are you going to leave PlayStation and buy all your games over again on that new system? Probably not. What you would do, though, is that you would buy the new system and buy the games that were specifically only for that system, and then you might buy some of the games that you have, but you're probably not going to go back to your old system, right? Because this is the new shiny toy that you're playing with. Well, when you're doing digital is that you're not even thinking about it anymore. Think of it like a casino. You have $100. You go into the casino. You give the $100. You know that's money. You give the money to them. They give you fake money, which is the coins. And now you think you can just spend it. You're just spending it left and right, okay? And you don't think you're spending $100. Well, now a Game Pass, or with a subscription service or digital games, you keep buying games and you play them. It's so convenient. You just turn on your Xbox, you turn on your PlayStation, you turn on your Nintendo, you start playing games, and you didn't have to put a disc in. You didn't have to put a cartridge in. You just play it. You play it, you beat it, you play it again, you beat it, DLC comes out, whatever. You're conditioning yourself. You're in that ecosystem. Now you leave that ecosystem. You stop paying that $10. You stop paying that $20, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I can't play that anymore. Then it kicks in. Your psyche kicks in and goes, oh, wait a minute. If I stop buying it, well, maybe I'll just go buy it. Oh, but I have to go buy all of this again. A lot of people won't do that, right? A lot of people won't do that. They'll be like, it is what it is. I'm going to keep playing, right? They've conditioned you over the last couple of years, and you're still in that ecosystem. Why do you think both Sony and Microsoft both came out with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S's with no disk drives? It wasn't to save on cost, okay? It was to get you in the ecosystem where you can't get out of the ecosystem. And if you want to get out of the ecosystem, by the way, we have a Xbox Series X with a disk drive. We have a PlayStation with a disk drive. Okay, you can pay extra money for these things, incentivize people with value. Oh yeah, you can own your games and stuff. But the most part is, oh, by the way, those aren't in stock right away. Oh, but you know what is, and we know you can't wait, the digital version. Oh, so here's the PlayStation discless version. There you go. That's being sold in stores. Here's the Xbox Series S, the discless version of the Xbox. And then you get in and you're like, I'll just play this for now, right? I'll just play this for now until the next thing comes out. And then when a PlayStation 5 comes out, guess what? You got the PlayStation 5 Slim discless version. Maybe you keep it. Maybe you sell it to somebody else until you get the next one. But you already have all those digital games that you purchased because you didn't get a disc drive, right? So now you're either buying the discs over again or you're keeping your digital drive. And then you get rid of it and you can't play them again.
Anything like that in my life. It was genuinely a pop culture event, and I don't say that lightly.
7,000 stores are opening on midnight.
They've been waiting a long time for this.
They were chanting, Halo 2!
Halo 2! Halo 2!
Just felt like something new was going to happen in entertainment.
But not anymore. Now there's no reason to stay. This is an Xbox is destroying all of the brand value built over the years. It was meant to be an inclusive message where everyone is welcome, but it ended up hollowing out the brand because if everything is an Xbox, then nothing really is. For Xbox fans, it feels like they've been kicked out of the house. Go away, says Xbox. You don't need to play here with us. Go find new friends. Go find a new place to play. You can do this anywhere. Have fun.
The choice you make is a chance to feel something new. Good luck. Have fun.
Don't get me wrong, I understand why it feels like Xbox wants to move away from the hardware business. It's really expensive. And
hence why I said, why would they make a handheld device when they can team up with somebody?
Frankly, they've never been as good at it as Sony and Nintendo. Both of those companies were always able to cost reduce in the later years and make a profit on their consoles. This was something Xbox struggled with when I was there. So I understand why they pivoted away from the hardware, why they want to move to Game Pass. Who wouldn't want a subscription service delivering endless value just like Netflix? But Netflix didn't grow by spending.
Hold on a second there, because she said something about Netflix.
Both of those companies were always able to cost reduce in the later years and make a profit on their consoles. This was something Xbox struggled with when I was there. So I understand why they pivoted away from the hardware, why they want to move to Game Pass. Who wouldn't want a subscription service delivering endless value just like Netflix? But
let me put it this way, right? Xbox came into a ecosystem of video games that was established 20 years before them. Okay? Maybe even longer than that, right? 30 years? Because Atari came out in the 70s, right? Console. Right, then Nintendo, then PlayStation, then Sega, right? So we as clients, as customers, we were conditioned that this is the box and this box plays these games, right? Xbox came into that ecosystem at the end of the century. In the early, right, in 2001 when they came in, they made the Xbox coming into what was already established ahead of time 30 years prior. Netflix came in with the physical media and then went to digital, right? We're in that era where we're in the era where people were like horse and buggy to car into hardware console to everything's digital, right? We're at this moment in time where we're like, yeah, no one's going to get that mechanical vehicle, right? Horse and buggy is what it is. Then you're in the car. And now no one uses horse and buggy except the Amish people, okay? 99.9% of the people with vehicles use vehicles, right, with motors. So we're conditioned now, a vehicle, just better. Now we're switching from gas to battery or whatever. It's that little push. Xbox and video games and music and movies, we're in that site of you don't need a DVD player to watch a movie. You don't need a record player to listen to music. You don't need this thing to listen to this, right? That's from Sony, Walkman, right? What happened? Sony Walkman, do they make Walkmans anymore? No. Okay. But Sony is one of the biggest publishers of music, and they make a shit ton of money, okay, in movies and music, and it's all digital now. It's all digital. So video games is now getting to the ballpark late, okay? So now they're changing the physical format to digital format, and we're pushing back. We're like, I don't like this. I don't like this. But you're already doing it with movies. You're already doing it with music. You're already doing it with all of these other things. And this is like the last line for us. We're like, our video games, I need the box. I need the box to play the video games.
Netflix didn't grow by spending. It grew by scaling. It kept content costs stable while expanding reach and raising prices. That's how they eventually earned those margins. Xbox, on the other hand, bet billions on new content. But with Game Pass tethered to hardware and Xbox producing fewer consoles, Game Pass began shrinking with the hardware. At first, it looked like the Game Pass strategy might work. But Xbox didn't reinvent by replacing the old engine or the old fence with a better one. They just abandoned what they had and started chasing.
Real quick, I gotta go back and listen.
Xbox, on the other hand, bet billions on new content. But with Game Pass tethered to hardware...
Oh, and Netflix, first of all, Netflix was successful. She says something about Netflix here.
Endless value, just like Netflix.
Right.
But Netflix didn't grow by spending. It grew by...
Yes, they did. Yeah, they 100% did for spending. When they went from video, from discs to actual digital, remember all the shows that they had to put on? They were buying other people's product to put on their stuff. Then they had to spend a shit ton of money on original content.
Scaling. It kept content costs stable while expanding reach and raising prices. That's how they eventually earned those margins. Xbox, on the other hand, bet billions on new content. But with Game Pass tethered to hardware and Xbox producing fewer consoles, Game Pass began shrinking with the hardware. At first, it looked like the Game Pass strategy might work. But Xbox didn't reinvent by replacing the old engine or the old fence with a better one. They just abandoned what they had and started chasing what they didn't understand. And sadly, it's not like...
It was dark times back then, Eclipse. Netflix barely had anything. When they started making shows like Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black and all these other ones, that's when Netflix started getting noticed, when they had original content. Because before is exactly what Netflix is, what Game Pass is now. Like when you look at Game Pass, there's a lot of old games on there that have been out for years. Right? That's what Netflix was. It was like the bargain bin at Walmart or Target, okay? But that's what Netflix was. Until they started spending a shit ton of money, raising the prices, and then making their own programming, Netflix was struggling. That's how they got bigger, right? Now they're not paying money to get other people's stuff on there as much. Now they're paying people to make original content on Netflix.
They can rely on their games to solve this problem. Unlike the Netflix model, Xbox hasn't been able to keep content costs stable. Their leadership seems to have forgotten how to make games at scale, and this has led to many layoffs and cancellations. Don't get me wrong, there are good game developers at Xbox, but when you have leadership that doesn't understand or care to cater to the fans of the Xbox brand, how can they understand what you're trying to build? I know that many of them don't love this weekly Xbox drama, they just want to make games. With this latest increase to Game Pass, Xbox threw away one of their last advantages. They were the best deal in gaming. You had access to 100+ titles.
What happens in a what if scenario, chat? In a what if scenario, what happens if video games don't go up to $80, but they go up to $90? Right? They skip, just like Xbox did right now. Instead of going from 20 to 25, they went straight to 30. What if they skip 80 and go to 90? What then? Is gaming in general still a good deal for $90 for a video game? Probably not, right? Most of you probably wouldn't be buying video games at the full price anymore. Some of you are not buying full price video games now. Okay. So what if Xbox is preemptively raising the price because they know the industry is going to change and drastically change? And I'm not saying it's going up to 90. I'm just saying, what if they know something, and they would know something, right? Because they're the industry. Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, right? They're the industry. What happens then? All of a sudden, Game Pass right now is no longer a best value for a lot of people. But all of a sudden, video games go up to 80, right? All games go up to 80, because right now they're still at 70. There's a couple games at 80, but all games go up to 80. And then next year, maybe all games go up to 85 or 90. The $30 doesn't look that bad anymore, does it? Maybe they're playing 4D chess. I don't know. Right now, it's shocking, though, right? A lot of people are like, what the hell's going on? Why am I paying $30? What is the value? But all of a sudden, if the video game industry comes out, that completely changes real quick.
Day one AAA drops for years. With these price hikes, it feels like a betrayal. Like
100%. 100% feels like a betrayal.
Over gaming. They've even lost the ever-present support of loyal press like Ryan.
While I recognize that this Xbox console generation isn't over yet, it's almost certainly going to be remembered first and foremost for Microsoft's greed.
100%. But can we honestly say, what company is not greedy? Name a company, major corporation, that's not greedy. Right? Name a company that's for the people, that charges really low. You can't do it because there's none of them in the video game space. Right? These guys operate and own the video game industry. Who's not greedy? They're all greedy.
2 hardware price increases and counting. 3 Xbox Game Pass price increases and counting.
Steam doesn't make hardware. Vinny, they don't make hardware. They're just a platform where people make games and put them on there. So let me get this straight. If Game Pass does just that, where they're no longer making hardware, right? They make the Steam Deck, but the Steam Deck has sold 4 million units. They're not a massive market of stuff, and there's talk of that the Steam's going to make hardware to go into console market, okay, again, because they had one like 10 years ago. But Steam is not PlayStation. They're not Xbox. They're not Nintendo. All the guys that make hardware, they're all greedy. Steam doesn't make hardware. No one gives shit to Steam. Steam's just there. They're like, here's a platform. We're giving other people, and we just take a percentage. We made the platform. We take a percentage of people's money.
1 software price increase so far, and tens of thousands of layoffs, as well as multiple studio closures.
It's shocking to me how many of these game companies don't understand that the rules have changed. You can't hide behind the media and your influencers anymore when you make bad decisions. They won't cover for you. And gamers aren't consuming media the same way.
Nope.
With the current economic challenges,
we're not watching media the same way because there's so much media. Anybody that's in their 40s and above, you had, well, if you're way older than me, if you're in your 70s and whatnot, right? You had 3 channels to watch. 3. ABC, CBS, NBC, and maybe PBS. 4. Okay? There wasn't Fox. There wasn't CNN. There wasn't MSNBC. There wasn't ESPN. There was nothing. It was just these channels on these things, and there was only a certain amount of shows, and television used to shut off. The television studios used to shut off at noon or 1 o'clock in the morning, and they would turn back on at 5 or 6. Okay? They literally closed it down. Now you're being bombarded constantly with content from YouTube. Every person that has an internet connection can make a video, right? So now you're watching that. Now you're watching the 1,000 subscriber channels of your HBO, and there's movies, and then there's Netflix and Hulu and ESPN and Showtime and Fox and Discovery and History and all, right? There's so much content. So there's no way you can watch or know everything that's going on because there's so much content that they have to try to get you, right? They have to try to get you, right? So that's why TikTok and YouTube Shorts and YouTube, right now, YouTube is, everyone likes shorts. Meanwhile, I do a 2-hour live show every day, right? things are changing, man. We all have 24 hours in the day, but we all can't sit there and watch all the content that's happening. So what are they doing with video games? Microsoft's like, well, why are we going to spend all this money to make a game where 5 million of 3 billion people are playing this thing, and they only go look at your achievements on PlayStation, go look at your achievements on Xbox, right? You look at an achievement, it's like finish the game. It's like 27%. You're like, huh? 10 million people bought the game. 6% got this achievement. It's like unlock all the regions. Like, how does this not 100%ed from all the people? Because people are not finishing games. People are not playing all the way through the games. They have backlogs and backlogs. I'll get to it later. I'll play it later, right? The whole industry is changing. All of it, the whole entertainment industry is changing.
Doing their own research, and they're deciding who they're going to give their hard-earned money to. And they're smart. They recognize that the Xbox ROG Ally selling out on the Xbox site doesn't necessarily reflect excitement for the product.
No, of course not.
It could be due to limited hardware availability.
That's always what it means. And anyone that runs to the thing and says, look, it's sold out, you're a moron. Okay? You're a moron. If you think that the Nintendo Switch sold out because it sold all these things, no, they have limited supplies when the Switch came out. When the Sony PlayStation came out, they had limited supplies. You couldn't get your hands on a PlayStation 5 for like 4 or 5 months because they only made a certain amount. They're like, oh, they're selling out like hotcakes. Okay? The Portal, right? The ROG Ally, all of these things, they're not selling like masses amount of copies. They're selling them because there's very little quantities of them.
Was it truly hype for Xbox or simply a lack of units at launch? I believe all of these changes and drama will harm Microsoft's brand as well. When we launched Xbox, Microsoft wasn't a beloved company. The antitrust case with the U.S. Department of Justice was a PR disaster. Game developers were salty because DirectX had overshadowed OpenGL, not because it was better. It got so bad that when I would visit a developer, I stopped carrying any kind of Microsoft-branded laptop bags or wearing any logos. I wanted to avoid the inevitable confrontations about the company.
Jesus.
Xbox changed that.
And Sony, their movies, they're cool, they're awesome. And Microsoft is like, they wear khakis and they're boring and they're Office and they're Windows. And it's like,
I can't overstate Xbox's impact on Microsoft's public image. It made the company feel approachable, fun, and less serious. It sparked excitement across the organization. By day, you might debug a printer driver.
I mean, that's true, right? Xbox made Microsoft a more hip company because of gaming. Because if it wasn't, it would just be Office stuff. Like, what teenager would be like, oh, yeah, I'm super excited about Windows 4, or, they have a new printer out. Nobody would give a shit about Microsoft. Microsoft would still be $1 billion company, $1 trillion company. But Xbox kind of brought them down to be like, oh, yeah, Microsoft owns Xbox. Xbox is pretty cool, right?
But by night, you were gaming on a cool console. And that console was made by your company. Amid recent controversies, that advantage is fading. When the source of your cool factor starts to seem greedy, it hurts your ability to attract and retain talent. If you think mission and perception don't matter, consider Zuckerberg's recent loss of engineers to Elon's xAI. Despite offering $250 million and direct access to Zuckerberg, they still left. They passed on life-changing money because xAI's culture and mission resonated with them more deeply.
Yeah.
I can't say for sure where this is headed. It appears that Xbox is moving towards cloud gaming and away from hardware. But it also could be that they're just incompetent, that they just don't understand what they're doing and they're trying things. When I used to work at X,
they're 100% trying things. I've said this in the past couple years. I said Xbox was like, why are we competing to be third place in this market when we can go make ourselves in the next market? Now, maybe Microsoft brings this in, right? Like, Apple didn't make the phone, but Apple made the phone better. So Xbox makes cloud gaming what it is, but all of a sudden a company that's not even started yet, maybe your son or daughter out there or my son starts a company 20 years from now, and that company becomes the next Apple that makes the cell phone better or makes the gaming platform better. That's not even here yet. So they take what's established in the cloud space at that time and they make the cloud better. Something new comes along. It's a Neo chip or something, and the gaming system's in your eyeball. Whatever it is, right? We don't know because we only know what we know. And we know that consoles is what sells games. We don't know what's happening yet because we're living in it now. Okay, we are living in it now. We don't know what digital games is. We are rebelling against it because we liked physical games. We liked consoles. I don't like playing on a 7-inch screen on my cell phone. My son doesn't mind it. Your daughter or son doesn't mind it. Okay, they don't care that they're playing on tablets. They don't care that they're playing on laptops. They don't care that they're playing on cell phones. They don't care that they're playing in the cloud. They don't care. They're being conditioned. So when they get to our age and they're old, angry because all of a sudden now cloud gaming changes for them and they're like, all we knew was digital gaming, and all of a sudden someone's like, we're making hard copies again, and they're like, what is this? Why are we doing hard copies? Right? They're going to rebel just like we're rebelling now. So obviously we don't know what the future is, but they have the money to see if it's going to work or not. And if they're right, they're there. If they're not right, well, they just toss it out like Google does with all their other devices, okay, and says, we'll try something different.
Xbox, I always found it amusing to hear what people outside the company thought about what we were doing. We were often painted as these supervillains. And the reality was, we were just trying to figure things out. We had no idea what we were doing.
And I don't think it's changed.
Young, we had moments where we were like, wait a minute, like, am I the best person to be doing this?
It was definitely a whole bunch of kids making decisions above their pay grade.
You had a bunch of passionate people who weren't necessarily 100% the most qualified people to be doing the jobs, running as fast as they can to make this thing happen.
Ultimately, whether it's a money grab or mismanagement, the outcome is the same. Xbox and now Microsoft faces a problem. They need to rebuild trust with gamers and fans. I know people on the Xbox team that are still there that were there in the early days. They were there when we built all of this value, and they still understand what made Xbox successful. They can fix this, and I'm rooting for them and wishing them the best. With all of this recent backlash, I just hope that Xbox will take a moment, they'll pause, and they'll listen to these team members. Because at the end of the day, they know what to do because they're listening to you.
Microsoft was this dominant company of the era, but success or even survival was anything but preordained.
So there you go. Another good video. Z says, 30, I work with a ton of these guys, and they find Office products amazing, and their also entire identity is wrapped around the ecosystem. Yikes. I get it. Look, certain guys that do engineers and stuff, they think that's the world. They love it. Like, I have a friend who's really big into like bicycles. Like he bikes. He's a biker. Like, not a motorbiker, like a cyclist. Okay? And he could tell you everything and anything about the cycle bikes and how they I don't even know if I'm saying the correct term, but he could tell you everything about it, right? The design, why they use certain things and stuff like that. He's very passionate about that. But if you talk like that to a normal person, they'll be like, right? They zone out because they have no interest in it. But they could talk, yeah, we're making this great, whatever bike. That's just the way it is. And the people that design those things, forget about it. That's even the next level, right? The people that design the things that people are using, right? They're like, well, how come you didn't put a pedal here? To be like, well, that's not what we designed. And you'll be like, yeah, but it's more practical if you put a pedal there. They're like, oh, I didn't think about that because they only know about the design, right? He also says Bill doesn't care about any of this as long as the company makes money. 100%. He's out making farms and making bugs to us to eat and stuff. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, what? Xbox? Oh yeah, okay, great. All right, let's see what's going on. I look, I always think this way. Technology is changing dramatically, exponentially faster and faster every single time, right? I'm not just talking about cell phones and computers, just where we are as a society, right? the way they build things, the way they make roads, the way they make skyscrapers, right? They go up much faster. They're built much stronger, right? Technology is just a wonder, right? And a lot of people take a lot of stuff for granted. Right now, we're looking at the video game space and going, no, video games is, I need a hard copy. I need a console to play my video games on. We're not looking at our television sets as systems. We're not looking at our cell phones as systems, but the younger population is. In a world, we used to have the Walkmans, walk around with just the Walkmans, right? Now that everyone's walking around with wireless Bose headsets or Beats or whatever, right? Completely different world. Similar, but completely different. There's no wire to get hung up on anything, right? Something so simple, right? If you pushed around and would be like, nah, I want this, the future doesn't care. The companies don't care. They're going to innovate and push forward, and we're going to rebel. You either rebel, not accept it, or you accept it and enjoy the products, right? Which then goes into a whole different thing about giving up your rights and information about shit like that, which is happening with the digital ID and stuff. But, you know. All right, what's happening right now? The embargo lift for Battlefield. Is anyone talking about Battlefield yet? It's been 20 minutes past 11. They said they're going to start talking about stuff. Netflix, new batch of games can be played straight onto your television. No controller required. Huh. I wasn't even going to talk about this. We'll talk about this tonight on GXG. Imagine a company that just makes movies all of a sudden now is in the exact same space as Sony, as Nintendo, as Microsoft, as Amazon. Yeah, it's weird, huh? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. All right, let me see. Anything embargo? Did you guys post anything in Discord? Mark Cerny, what did you guys post there? From Project Amnesty to Future to Play AMD and Sony Interactive. Unexpected. There's also a PlayStation 6 secretly. Yep, is correct. It said of future consoles in a few years. Yeah, they said 2027 is when the next console comes out for that. Discord says 70,000 users may have had their identity photos leaked to a third-party data breach. That's a good way to lose your clientele. New map gameplay. Jack Frag had a video 26 minutes ago. Let's see. Regional pricing, Server Slam, EA. Let's type in Battlefield and see, because the embargo was supposed to lift at 11 o'clock. Full game multiplayer early gameplay. People's new map gameplay campaign review 26 minutes ago. Well, we could watch that.
Oh, God.
It's been 7 years since the last Battlefield campaign, a decade since the last one set in modern day. The intriguing, but ultimately flawed.
This is the campaign. This is a review for the campaign, by the way.
Hardline. In that time, Doom and its sequels took the speed of a single-player first-person shooter to the next level. Titanfall 2 pushed level design forward in inventive ways, and even Call of Duty reinvented itself on several different occasions to varying degrees of success. But Battlefield 6 has little interest in innovation, instead firmly looking back at what made the series so successful 2 console generations ago. Aside from being an impressive technical showcase at times, its small routine set of missions has little new to offer. There is some variety and a few
So they haven't changed the campaign in 2 decades. That's good.
Moments of impressive scale to be found, but it's all over so quickly you barely have time to savour them. Though it never quite feels like a full-on afterthought, it's a campaign that comes across as a sidearm of Battlefield 6's arsenal when placed alongside its more grand multiplayer suite. Across its 9 missions, Battlefield 6 zips around at a furious pace, but I couldn't help but feel that I'd done it all before, albeit at much lower fidelity. It's flashy, but lacking when it comes to genuinely interesting level design, with its great feeling gunplay not supported by what you're actually asked to achieve. On one hand, it makes sense for Battlefield Studios to take this approach.
My question is, he's not sounding very excited about the campaign. And my thing is, they dedicated 4 studios to this game. And if one studio that just worked on the campaign kind of did a half-assed job about it, doesn't give, and I'm only speaking to me, it doesn't give me hope that the rest of the stuff is going to be very polished when it comes out. Now, I did play the beta, and I had a lot of fun with the beta. I had a blast with the beta. Okay? I'm a little worried. I've said this over and over and over and over about the Battle Royale and the Portal when it comes in. But, again, this is not selling me if they did a sort of a minimal viable product for the campaign just to put it in so they can ask for the $70.
And treat.
I know people are going to say, well, I don't play this for the campaign. Well, then you shouldn't complain about Game Pass being $30, because even if you don't use Ubisoft Plus, the EA Play, and the Fortnite crew, right, there's still plenty of value there, right? Because if Battlefield is $70, but the campaign blows, okay, then the value is not there for the $70.
The campaign as a training ground for its trademark large-scale online warfare. The pure size and number of enemies that flood the screen in its missions are certainly in conversation with this, but in the other palm, it...
What did he say there as far as...
training ground for its trademark large-scale online warfare. The pure size and number of enemies that flood the screen in its missions are certainly in conversation with this, but in the other palm, it crushes all hope of crafting a thrilling story.
Well, that's true, Sarge, right? Sarge says he's supposed to be impartial, bro. That's the proper review. Yeah, he's telling you that he's comparing it to the old stuff and what it used to be, where what he should be doing is just telling us what this game is.
Story that has the chance of stepping out of the shadow cast by those multiplayer modes. That's not to say there aren't splashes of inspiration. A particular highlight was a sequence that takes place on a
Vinny, yeah, the Metacritic is based just on the campaign because the multiplayer's not out yet. People are not playing. So I don't know how you could give a review for something if no one's playing the multiplayer yet, right? Tomorrow, when the reviewers' scores come in and stuff like that, of the players' scores come in, they'll be playing the campaign, they'll be playing the multiplayer, they'll be playing Portal, they'll be playing all that stuff, and then you get much more of a feel of what the game actually is.
New York Bridge. It's at least visually interesting, even if it offers no great variance in what it's asking you to do gameplay-wise. There's just no one mission that screams out as an all-timer here, even if there are attempts to ape Modern Warfare's clean house, which fails to capture any of the desired tension, or its own version of a Normandy landing as you storm a Gibraltar beach. It's oddly very much a Call of Duty campaign in its map and objective design.
And that's another problem. Making the campaign like a Call of Duty campaign, if it feels like that, because you're going for the Call of Duty crowd. I get it. But come on. Go play Bad Company 2 campaign. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty.
And struggles to stamp much of the signature Battlefield large-scale action that made me fall in love with the series. I find it frustrating not to see risks being taken creatively, especially when such a vast budget is available to fuel such ambition. One later chapter set amongst the mountains of Tajikistan does take place in a wide open area and echoes the multiplayer roots of the series, as you're encouraged to take your own approach when completing the task at hand. In theory, this could be exciting, with all manner of airborne and ground vehicles ready to be controlled at your fingertips.
I have a question. The AI looks fucking dumb. And here's my point. Your guy is standing right here. He's not ducking. He's not hiding. He's just standing right there. Right? So your NPC or whoever's sitting there is just sitting there.
with all manner of airborne and ground vehicles ready to be controlled at your fingertips, and a vast library of weaponry and gadgets to gear up with. In practice, it presents as more of a thin veneer of choice, rather...
Yeah, the AI is dumb. You can tell. Look at this.
In practice, it presents...
This guy here doesn't even turn towards this guy that you're shooting one guy, the other guy's not even looking at you.
More of a thin veneer of choice.
Oh boy.
Rather than drastically different ways to tackle objectives, with the range of tools at your disposal kept frustratingly limited. You're given a drone to play with and a choice of ATVs and armoured trucks to drive, but little beyond that. I'm just not a fan of this larger map approach when it comes to first-person shooter campaigns, much preferring an authored hand-to-level design, rather than being handed a...
What is happening here? Watch this scene again. Okay, you're in a truck. You're an enemy truck coming into a base.
Campaigns, much preferring an
You're shooting.
Hand to level.
Nobody here is shooting at you.
Design.
Is this your base? Their base? What's happening?
Crayons to make my own fun with.
Set, ready to detonate.
These stretches are worryingly close to Modern Warfare 3's open combat missions at times, a memory I never wanted to relive, but at least they do feel philosophically more at home as Battlefield arenas. Thankfully, these don't make up the majority of the campaign, but what's found in its smaller scope staging isn't any more exciting. You'll often find yourself hunkering down in tight city streets or behind hulking tanks, waiting for the right opportunity to pop your head out. A run and gun mentality simply isn't welcomed here, with a patient, cover-based approach encouraged. The gunplay is snappy at least, with a satisfying weight to...
Yeah, but that should worry you, Water. That they literally took the time to make a campaign, but not put the time in to make a good campaign. They just did the minimal viable product. So if everybody that worked on Portal, that worked on campaign, that worked on multiplayer, and then worked on Battle Royale, if everyone's doing what these guys are doing for the campaign, the minimal viable product, that doesn't seem very good, right? I don't care if you have 4 studios, but there's a problem here with the single-player campaign, it looks like. The AI looks absolutely atrocious.
Whenever you do choose to open fire, assault rifles and LMGs pack a powerful punch and serve as efficient tools when faced with another wave of enemies.
Target above neutralized.
And sniper rifles are satisfyingly devastating, even if the enemy AI displays little brain to blow out. It gets especially exciting when the impressive destruction tech takes a chunk out of the building you've been finding solace in, and you're forced to scramble to another safe haven. These claustrophobic moments of true jeopardy really are all too rare though, as for the most part, the campaign is reduced to rinse and repeat objectives that were getting old in FPS campaigns a decade ago. Having one mission include a sequence where you need to destroy anti-aircraft guns or SAM sites can be forgiven, but doing this on more than 3 occasions is just downright boring and grinds any gathered momentum to a halt. There are only so many times planting C4 can be considered a fun time, and all too often you're tasked with standing still amongst the action and pressing a single button in order to continue. On multiple occasions, I was asked to watch some explosions that I didn't even get to set off take place, or sit in the...
You're watching stuff blow up that you didn't even do.
Back of a speeding
What's going on,
vehicle
Doug?
and control a mounted turret that only gives you a mild feeling of being responsible for the carnage on screen. It's on rails all too often, taking its most exciting moments out of your hands and displaying them in cutscenes, resulting in much of the campaign feeling like the most straight-faced Disney ride ever built. I wanted to be the star of the show, but I ended up just feeling like a passenger. An early mission that takes you through an abandoned World War II tunnel network turned museum to the decades-old war serves as an unfortunate symbol for the campaign as a whole, a relic of first-person shooter design dressed up in a new guise. Being funneled through corridors towards the next static shooting gallery to gun down fish in a barrel.
Come on, bro. Did you see that? Did you see that NPC?
Being funneled through corridors towards the
NPC knows you're coming in the room. Look at him.
Shooting gallery to
never
gun down
turns
fish in a
around.
barrel is hardly exciting in 2025, and it barely was 20 years ago. Outside of a series of tank battles as dry as the desert roads they take place on, it attempts to sprinkle very little of that Battlefield magic into the mix, largely negating environment destruction as part.
Why didn't the wall blow up? Why didn't the wall blow
Little
up?
of that Battlefield magic into the mix, largely negating environment destruction as part of your toolkit, and never once putting you in control of an airborne.
There is 5 snipers in that window, and not
vehicle.
one of them is shooting at him.
Is it really Battlefield if I'm never zooming along in a fighter jet or unleashing hell from a helicopter gunship? There is a slight glimmer of tactical ops magic to be seen, as you can call on your squad mates to activate their personalised skills to help you in a fight. They each come packed with their own multiplayer class flavoured abilities, such as Gecko, the recon specialist, being able to tag targets, which, admittedly, does make certain situations.
You mean like wall hacks? Yeah.
Ridiculously easy, as every enemy in the area is revealed to you instantly.
Gecko, need your eyes ahead. On it.
What's the point of that? And I'm breaking it down. Like, what's the point? Why put the guys in the thing and have strategic places of what they're doing? Like, why don't you just put them in fluorescent green so you know where they are, and just cut this mechanic out, right? Like, why make them hide and stuff if your guy can just automatically spot them? What's the point? Just so you can go, oh, the recon's helping me.
Ultimately though, each member ends up playing practically the same and feels like another missed opportunity to add a dash of variety into the mix. They each fall under the banner of an expert marine raider squad called Dagger 1-3, an unfittingly sharp name for such a dull bunch. On the whole, they're a fairly cookie-cutter military unit who love nothing more than getting their boots on the ground and shouting, with memorable character moments near non-existent. The performances and the shells of humans they inhabit are wholly forgettable, barely coming across as fully formed, and it's hard to detect any sort of emotion, even when one of their own falls in the line of fire.
They're gone, Martinez.
Nuance.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Just dead face. Like, we just lost one of our guys. He'll be missed. Let's move on.
Is hardly the name of the game when it comes to Battlefield 6's campaign though, and its story, centered on taking down a rogue private military force called Pax Armata, ironically Latin for armed peace, proves to be anything but a peaceful one.
You're breaking protocol. You're never to contact me in person. I taught you both too well.
They're coming for you.
Who?
Pax.
It's a fairly straightforward affair that doesn't leave too much room for interpretation. For a military shooter about the collapse of NATO, it's all oddly apolitical in its presentation.
Oh, the collapse of NATO could be hitting too close to home.
And as such, it feels like it has nothing of real substance to say. It's safe, and as a result, largely uninteresting. At least Call of Duty has attempted to take on subjects such as chemical warfare and terrorism, even if they've ultimately been misguided efforts that come across as antithetical to its larger message. It's not easy to present such important themes delicately, so I can understand why Battlefield Studios may have felt like trying to fire and catch a bullet laced with hot button issues may have been a risk not worth taking, when it could simply choose not to pull the trigger at all. It just means that it doesn't have anything to say on a global or personal level, and all feel.
Well, the problem is you can't do something too outrageous because it's in modern day. And we know about modern day. You can't say something or do something because you might offend somebody. You might do something. This is what I said. I said because they're saying it in the modern day, you can't have bad guys. You have to have this generic mercenary group that you're going up against, right? Like you can't say that Russia's bad or China's bad or anyone's bad, because then real life gets involved and they're like, well, what do you mean? Or do you, right? And they'll be like wars started over a video game. Okay. This is why I like the old school, because it was history, and you can give a video game with history because that was facts, and you can make stuff based on that. Hence why World War II is some of the most popular games out there, because the stories are good, the setting's good, and you're not going to offend anybody in 2025. Okay. Z says, 30, did you work with people that love their project so much that they couldn't see how bad it was and how sloppy the work was? In the film industry, it's a little different, because the person that is directing is the person that loves the project and whatever or not. There are times that I've been on a project that I enjoyed, But the workers on the actual thing that I'm doing, my job is the same, regardless if I'm on a commercial or if I'm on a music video or if I'm on a feature film. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm so excited for this. Like, no, I'm doing my job, right? So it might be cool that I'm in a helicopter filming something, but if the person's vision is, if they have a vision and we're getting that across, then we're doing our job correctly. So whatever their vision is and how we're doing our stuff. So in that case, no, I've never done it. But I've been with people in other places, yes, where they're so in love with what they're doing, they don't know it sucks. I think this is what the new game devs are starting to do to turn out into. I guess it just seems a little. It just seems a little like the IGN guy just said. Why make a campaign why make a half-ass campaign? Why make a campaign at all? Right? The reason they make a campaign is because people are like, we wanted a campaign. They're like, well, let's just do the minimal viable product for campaign. So they put the campaign in the game. Why? So they can charge the $70. Okay. Why? So they can push people into the other thing. This is why they're pushing more towards the Battle Royale. Think about this. They put a whole bunch of money into this. They probably put a lot less money into Battle Royale. But Battle Royale will have a better, because this is upfront $70. But how many people are going to play their actual campaign? They'll look at it down the road and say, all right, we sold 10 million units. 20% of the people actually did the campaign. Everybody else has just played the multiplayer. Battle Royale comes in. We had 20 million people play the Battle Royale. And guess what? No story, no nothing. It's just what it is. So like, oh, and we made a shit ton of money because they made the money up front for the $70, but they're making the money on the back end with all the other recurring stuff, season pass, battle pass, whatever else they're doing. So minimal viable product for campaign gives value for the $70. Why are you buying it? I'm buying it for the multiplayer. I'm buying it for this. I'm buying it for the campaign, right? Battle Royale is free to play. You don't have to buy in. And the value is still there because you didn't pay for anything. And then maybe you'll buy into the $70 version later because the campaign. But the campaign is just like, why is it there?
Feels a little hollow as a result. It's a far cry from when the series did tell some engaging tales through the eyes of fun characters in its Bad Company days. I did also fall victim to a few annoying little glitches on the way, such as my character zipping across the screen involuntarily, fuzzy textures popping in, and occasional bullets aimed right at enemy heads, leaving zero impact.
Now, I know this is probably something that happened very little in his game, but it happened. Now, if the hit detection in the single-player game is not working, what do you think is going to happen, considering the hit detection was a major problem in Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042? And just to say, that happened to me when we were playing the beta. I shot people. I'm like, how come it's not hitting them?
But on the whole, there's no denying that it looks and sounds very impressive, with spectacular explosions peppering skylines and gunfire whizzing and cutting through smoke and debris as mayhem ensues around you with regularity. I just wish there was a little more substance hiding behind it all. At 9 missions and just 5 hours, Battlefield 6's campaign's flame doesn't burn for long, and it doesn't burn particularly bright in that time either.
He says exactly. These devs act like they're also so proud that it's also so fun to have their voice in their game and their face in the game, but there's also one that's also their studio shooting hurrah when they. Yeah, but here's the thing. The first videos I made on YouTube, I was proud of those things, but now looking back at those videos, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Right? I mean, I get it. You can like what you're doing, but when you look at it and go, is this better than what we had in the past? This looks subpar for the campaign. But then people just hand wave it, right? Shitty campaign. People are like, I only play it for the multiplayer anyway. All right, well, multiplayer is bad. Well, I have the Battle Royale. Well, I'll just go make my the maps suck. I'll just go make my own map in Portal. Okay?
It's a staggering spectacle to behold at times and a treat for the ears at others. But when it comes to mission design and an engaging plot, it fails to deliver at all. A quick afternoon of fun, it's a safe reimagining of what Battlefield once was. But far from a bold reinvention of what it could, and maybe should.
Ooh.
Be now.
Executive Reviews Editor Tom Marks here with Simon Cardy, our reviewer for the campaign of Battlefield 6. Cardy has done a bunch of shooters for us before, most notably a lot of the recent Call of Duty campaigns, so Black Ops 6 and Modern Warfare, Vanguard before that. You'll also be reviewing the campaign for Black Ops 7 in a month or two, and then also, other types of shooters, Suicide Squad, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, that sort of space. But let's talk about this one. It's been a while since the last Battlefield, so why'd you wanna review this one?
I think mainly because there is kind of this ongoing, it's been a debate for decades, but it's kind of re-emerged as Call of Duty versus Battlefield.
Which has never been. It's never, ever been a competition, and I'm a huge Battlefield guy.
Debate, and I thought, not that it's my job to decide who reviews things, but I thought it would make sense if I'm reviewing COD to also review Battlefield, so people get, the fair opinion of which campaign is the better one. Obviously it's all based on my tastes, but it's as kind of fair as we can do it at IGN, get the same person to do both of them. So I thought, it would make sense, and I do love myself a first-person shooter campaign.
Well, what about your history with the series specifically? Are you a Battlefield fan? What's your favorite in the genre? All that.
I've kind of dipped in and out of Battlefield, I'd say.
So no, not a Battlefield guy.
The multiplayer isn't my preferred form of multiplayer, but the
because you're a solo guy and you like to run around with kill-death ratio and you don't like to be a team player.
Campaigns,
I'm translating here.
I've always tried to give a go. So obviously Bad Company 2, I love those. Kind of the first real full campaigns that Battlefield did, and I kind of loved the tone of that. It felt a little bit different, a little bit on the lighter side, despite being dark. It had a good balance of dark humor. I also really enjoyed Battlefield 1, the World War I one. I thought that was a good take on that, and it had a good level of variety, which is...
People didn't like the World War I one. They were like, it's World War I. Like, they were mad. It's an awesome game. Awesome game.
Is, I'm sure, what we'll get onto when we talk more about Battlefield 6, but I look for variety in first-person shooter campaigns, and I also look for good story and moments, and I feel like those previous Battlefield campaigns had those, and that's maybe something we didn't get here in Battlefield 6, unfortunately.
Right, yeah.
Well, it's okay. They only had 4 years to work on the story. They only had 4 studios to work on this game. It's okay. It's all right.
So you mentioned this in the review itself, but you said it doesn't quite feel like an afterthought, right? But the vibe is that maybe it is heading that direction at least.
Yeah.
How do you? Well, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of. It's not. I feel it's harsh to call it an afterthought because it is a fully formed campaign. There is a through line. It's not like I reviewed Modern Warfare 3 a couple years back, and that
Modern Warfare 3 gave a 4. Okay.
Very much did feel like an afterthought. It felt like, let's take pieces of multiplayer and Warzone and kind of cobble together a campaign that didn't really have much of a story. Whereas this one...
Is that the one that came out last year? The 4? Or Modern Warfare 3? Was that last year?
There is a through line. They are specifically built missions with areas that I don't think are in multiplayer. So it does feel like a not complete afterthought. It feels like they did go into this wanting to make a campaign, and they did make one. It is short, 4 to 5 hours, which...
Oh my god, 4 to 5 hours.
Just wanting to play the campaign, I don't think I could recommend that.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why we split our single-player and multiplayer reviews for games like this, right? Because some people are just looking for the first-person shooter campaign, and some people are there for the online specifically, so... That's why we split them up. But I wanted to ask you specifically about that of what do you expect going into a game like this from a campaign, from a multiplayer shooter specifically? Are you expecting it to be sort of, the old way of things a decade or two ago?
That's the one that was supposed to be DLC, but they made it into a full game? Okay.
I feel like first-person shooter campaigns really were the FPS campaign was a thing, and that's sort of diminished in years since. So When you go in, what are you expecting? You said 5 hours felt short. Are you expecting a 10-hour campaign coming out of this? Or,
8.
Or...
I'm not necessarily expecting 10 hour, maybe a bit more than 4 or 5, maybe more around the 7 to 8 mark.
Yeah,
I know
8.
Call of Duty campaigns probably are more around the 6, 7 if you're lucky with those. But maybe I'm just getting old, Tom. I don't know. I yearn for the days of full Halo campaigns, full Call of Duty campaigns that it felt like, oh, I would spend almost a week playing those before then really getting stuck into the multiplayer for the rest of the year. And maybe we're living in a world now where those are completely divorced ideas. So if you want your campaigns, you do go to a Doom or a Wolfenstein. Like, that is where you're going to get your first-person shooter campaigns of, you know, real, like, authored, designed quality. And maybe you come to a Battlefield if you want a little, you know, not even a weekend, an afternoon of campaign before getting stuck into the multiplayer.
I don't want a campaign where I can finish in one of my own streams. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I play a gaming stream, I go 4 to 5 hours and finish it in that one time. Not for $70. Don't get me wrong. The $70 goes into the multiplayer as well. And people play that hundreds and hundreds of hours, which I get. But like he said in his end of his video, why put a campaign in if you're going to do this kind of effort to it at all?
I will say that that's the way I did think we were heading. But I really, really enjoyed last year's Call of Duty campaign. And that felt authored. There were some wild missions in that, and it felt very authored and designed, and a step away from the direction I thought they were going, where it was more like free-form, open world-ish missions that felt more like multiplayer maps that you're just being dropped into with objectives. And there's kind of one of those in the Battlefield campaign, which isn't great. So I don't know. I kind of expect.
I think the AI looks horrendous. From the review, what we looked at, they look absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe my expectations should be lowered at this point, but I do still yearn for those like peak Modern Warfare days and those peak Halo days, and even those peak Battlefield days of Bad Company and Bad Company 2, which I really enjoyed. I guess I just find it frustrating, right? That like these are the games Call of Duty.
Well, don't worry, because the people that made the single player game have never made a single player game before that worked on Battlefield. So there you go.
And Battlefield that have so much money behind them, and like there's all this like funding this and fueling this creativity, but you play it and you don't see that like innovation. I'm like a big, like, you know, maybe I ask too much of every game I play. I'm like, I want to see some innovation. I want to see something I haven't seen before. Whereas with this Battlefield,
I don't think you need to see innovation, but you need to hit the bar from what the one previously that had a campaign in it. You have to hit that mark.
Sadly, I'm kind of getting a campaign from 10 to 15 years ago that looks and sounds like incredible at times. Like, you know, a lot of the money has gone into the tech, I can tell that, but I just wish there was more in the ideas of like, how can we like shake up a military shooter? Because I'm getting a lot of what I've played before here, sadly, I think.
Well, at least it's pretty while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's what people say about me. So there we go.
Cardi, thank you.
That sounded awful.
Cardi, thank you so much for chatting with me a little bit more about your tastes, your Battlefield history, all that jazz. If you want another conversation with Cardi.
All right, so there you go. There's the IGN take. We had one more story about Fortnite. I was going to show some video footage of, what's it called? Jack Fragg's video, but I don't think we need to, maybe we can look at that. You know what? I'll talk about the Fortnite thing tonight, about the Halloween thing that's up tonight, and then we'll look at one more thing for Battlefield for the next couple, 10, 15 minutes. Let me pick Battlefield 6 new map gameplay. Let me pick
Welcome back to
Jack
Battlefield
Frag.
6. Today we're going to be checking out 3 new maps that we haven't really seen or played before. A big thanks to EA for sponsoring this.
We'll skip around here. I want to hear what he has to say.
Link is below if you want to check out the game.
This is the multiplayer stuff, by the way. This is not the single player stuff now.
Manhattan Bridge, and if we open the map up here, we can take a look. So we've got 5
Another small
capture
map
points in Conquest. Nice little layout there. Obviously set in the Dumbo area of New York. Dumbo is an acronym for Down Under Manhattan Bridge Overpass, and as you can see, we are really under the bridge here. I'll be interested to know as well, if you're a local or if you know this area well, how accurate is this? Have they done a good job with this? So this is an all-out warfare map, so there's tanks and helicopters, and that's the MBT
Yeah, but it's a
law.
small
So that's
map,
the
though.
default launching out, the engineer class. Oh, I like this street fighting here. Bit of heat. Yeah, I don't have everything unlocked this time like the last capture event. I think this is the the launch version of the game. But I will
Where's Roic?
show you
Look,
some
he's
of
reviving his teammate. This guy's just farming.
the progression too and challenges, because that's all in this build. It does kind of feel like they've changed the weapon recall a bit. What are you firing at? Oh, there's an attack helicopter. Not much cover here. Let's throw some pizzas down in the road. Explosive pizzas. There's a tank.
Oh, 100%. He's not playing on console.
There he is.
Jack plays on
I got
PC.
2 mines down there. You're kidding me. Oh, he was nearly on it. Come on. Get some cover. Oh, God. Push forward. Yeah, he's going. Yeah, explosive pizza.
The
New York is
multiplayer.
kinda known for pizza,
The
right?
multiplayer.
Wait.
See,
okay, you can go on the
$70
roof.
game.
There's a
Multiplayer's
rappel.
in there.
Look at this.
Not
looks
worth
amazing.
it. Because if I don't want to play
Okay,
the
let's do it.
campaign, I don't want to pay $70 for the thing. So now this game has
there's a
lost
capture
its value
point
to
up
me. It's $50, right? $50 because I'm not paying $70 for a
Have a look at the
campaign
view.
to play 5 hours to then
Beautiful.
play multiplayer. If I'm going to play multiplayer, I'll wait for the
big
price to
objective
drop
is actually on
before
the
I buy
roof.
it.
Where's Spider-Man? Can almost see him swinging away. Dumbo. D-U-M-B-O.
And we'll try the Battle Royale when it comes out just to see how it is.
Go for that tank. Oh, he's a goner. He's cooking. Tops off.
So I have a question. Yes, 30. How come people have a problem with Cairo map where people were getting up on the rooftops and people said it was unfair and it was a hack, but yet in this map, I'm allowed to be up on top of a rooftop? Just a question.
Yeah, that can land on people too.
And I come from a point where I don't think the Cairo map was wrong being on top of the rooftop. I think that's Battlefield. And if you can get up on the roof, then that's where you get to play.
Which is cool. I don't want to go down there. That friendly helicopter? Yeah. It's like Siege of Shanghai vibes, isn't it, in that thing? I've got an idea. I don't know if it's going to work.
It's one of the reasons I stopped playing Call of Duty as well, Aku, because the campaigns were just super short.
Right, hold on. I'll get rid of the O. This is dumb now, sorry. That's really stupid. The lighting is completely different here. It's got dark. There's no light because of the bridge, I think. Dumbo. Oh, they've got cocktails here. Chilled Sunset, $7. Milky Critter, low 7. Ooh,
Those are actually the microtransaction price tags for things.
I'd love to know how they come up with these names. Do they just have a coffee and sit around a table and just make them all up? Can I do it? Yes. Okay, I'm happy to report the sledgehammer is still...
He doesn't even like wind it up. Look at this real fast.
Yes. Okay, I'm happy to report.
He just pulls it out like... It's like worse than Minecraft, for God's sakes.
The sledgehammer is still as mighty as Thor's hammer. Okay, can't do that. I did say there's going to be a day one patch though, so I wonder if they'll...
This is a small event that they went to.
But yeah, you can destroy mostly everything in these stores and buildings. It's really cool.
Look at this.
This capture point here, really open. You want some pieces? Come on, I know you want the pieces. Maybe I can sledgehammer it to death. See, it does do a bit of damage. Okay.
A sledgehammer does a little bit of damage to a tank. Get out of
I
here.
killed myself there. Luckily, Nick is here to revive me. Thanks, Nick. Domino's Pizza. Anyone order a pepperoni?
The driving mechanic in first person looks good.
Okay. Who ordered this goddamn pepperoni pizza? Was it you? Did you order it? Double pepperoni passion? No, it wasn't him. You, it was you. You ordered it, didn't you? It was you. I know you want this. Okay, that wasn't the guy. Look at this here, the C objective. Nice enclosed area. Beautiful art on the walls.
All right, I've seen enough of this map. I want to move over to the next one. This is a different map right here.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to see this. I want to see the
cool. And
the map,
damage.
like the layout of it.
Okay, Sobek City, Egypt. Conquest again. Let's have a look.
Again, medium-ish map. I mean, look at the dots. Look where the thing is. It looks like you can pin people in their bases again. It looks like you can pin people in their bases again.
Bit of a long amount of this one. 5 capture points. Oh, we've got a helicopter battle here. Who's gonna win? Battlefront. FR versus...
Does EA Games get 10-hour trial? You have to be on the pro.
Devil Dog Gamer, I think.
People talked about it yesterday.
He hit him.
You have to be on pro.
Battlefront bailed. Helicopter's gone. See ya. Completely different. Ow. Completely different.
Yeah, for the campaign, Para. For the campaign.
That reminds me of Mirror's Edge. A bit of BF4 maybe. It's like I think I've said this before. It feels like the end scene of Tenet. If you've seen that movie, the Christopher Nolan movie. All that warfare. So we got helicopters.
You get the full game on pro for 10 hours, or you get the full game.
I don't think we have jets on this though. Helicopters raining down the pane. I can reach him with a ladder now. It's not big enough for that. Bit of Gulf of Oman vibes here too, maybe. Feels a little bit like that.
Enemy vehicle sighted. Take it out.
I like how they haven't said anything about it though, right, Luke?
Whee! Lots of explosions. More explosions. Apparently everything on this map just explodes. Yep. That helicopter was a paid actor there. Just as I looked up. I heard explosions and knew it's time to go. And I hit that.
Yeah, but it's a 10-hour trial.
Building. Another helicopter.
10-hour trial.
What is going on? Is this scripted? I don't think it is. I think it's all real. Get him now. Come on. I got me out of the building again. I mean, at least the helicopters have got cover on this map, which is kind of cool. It'll be fun to fly them, I think. Can I take out this tank? I mean, he's not realised. Okay, he has now.
Alright, I want to see the last map over here. This is the last map.
Okay, third new map, Saints Quarter. I don't think anyone has seen this outside of a few clips in the trailer. If we look at the map, very small.
Bro, why are these maps so goddamn small?
Anyone has seen this outside of a few clips in the trailer. If we look at the map, very small. 3 capture points, infantry only. And this is domination. A couple of different lanes that you can take.
Well, what's this map on this is domination.
I feel like this is going to be the go-to map for leveling up your guns and... What was it? UK?
No. To level up your guns, Jack, what's going to happen is I'm going to make my own map in Portal. I'm going to line up all the NPCs in a line, and then I'm going to start the match, and you're going to shoot down in a straight line to level up your gun. Stop it. You think people are going to play the actual game when you get full XP in your Portal maps? Stop it. Someone's going to make a map with one house, an entrance where people come out and they just go pa, 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 like they're shooting in a goddamn cave of a loot cave. That's what's going to happen. No one's going to run around and level their guns up in a small map like this. They're going to level up their guns first for the first like 6 hours in their own Portal map. Then they're going to go back in the game with a maxed out weapon. And then people are going to complain that people are using full XP. And then what's going to happen is people are going to nerf stuff and you get a quarter of XP inside your Portal maps and stuff. That's what's going to happen.
Flying on the stairs there. Yeah, leveling up your guns and grinding out
Go on,
camos and attachments, all that stuff. Seem to respawn really quick in this game mode. I don't think you can spawn on squad mates either in BF6 version of Domination.
The map looks good. Like the map itself, like it looks pretty. It looks good. But goddamn, is it small. All 3 maps, 2 medium-sized maps, and then this one's super tiny.
Didn't seem like it. Oh, long lane here. I mean, that's heat. All the cars. Looks good. Gonna go in there. Ah, denied. Can't go in there. I thought that might be accessible.
Objective Bravo is under our control.
And this is the middle flag. Up there, though. I love the ladder, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, so Water, in Portal, you get full XP. So leveling up your character, your guns, everything. But you can make what you want in the game. Who knows what they're going to do? So even if I might not even have to shoot anybody to level up stuff in the game. I could like run through hoops or drive a tank or something. Right? I'm assuming that you have to use the gun to level it up. Right? But your character will level up regardless of whatever you do.
Make a hole. Hello. Oh, peekaboo. I'm so happy that they let you do that kind of thing.
All right. He shows some stuff over here at the end.
For progression and unlocking things in the game. So you to show you, as I said as well, could be really good for leveling your guns up and stuff like that. I wanted to show you this too, because this is pretty important for progression and unlocking things in the game. So
right? So here you go. Complete a match in any game mode. So you could do this in Portal. You get 3,500 points. Get kills with DMR, right? You could do that in Portal. Score as an assault. You could do that in Portal.
You've got your daily and your weekly challenges, which are just for XP for now. But then you've also got the assignments, and this actually can unlock gameplay stuff. So, for example, in Initiation, you've got stuff like double XP tokens and camos.
So, okay, they're team play challenge, large mode challenges, small mode challenges, vehicle challenges, right? So this is their way to stop people from just playing the one thing. One match a day, you're going to play a small mode, large mode. So because they're going to have so many different things, they have to corral people into game modes.
Stuff like double XP tokens and camos. But then in weapon, you actually need to do these to unlock certain weapons in the game, and some of them are.
Hold on, what was that?
Weapon.
Inflict damage with assault rifle. Inflict damage with assault rifle. So yeah, just use assault rifles and you rank it up.
You actually need to do these to unlock certain weapons in the game, and some of them are gated by levels. So for example, if you want to unlock the L85A3, first you've got to get over rank 23, and then this rapid fire challenge will unlock, I presume. And then inflict damage with assault rifles, and you'll get the Cord 6B67. Stage 2 is getting kills with the Cord 6B67 or the B36A4, and get kills over 50 meters while aiming down sight with assault rifles. That'll unlock you the MVO, and then that gets you to stage 3, which is for the L85A3. Inflict close quarters damage while hip firing with assault rifles, and then get kills with the SAW 556, MK2, or the NVO 228E. So you're gonna have to pay attention to this if you want to unlock certain guns and stuff like that. The class challenges too, very important, because this will give you...
The menu system is so horrendous still.
Training and really core gadgets in the game. For example, on Assault, if you want to get the spawn beacon, you've got to get over rank 20 and then earn score and get kills while using the adrenaline injector. And then the next stage of that will get you the frontliner, which is the second training path for Assault. That's like different passives and gameplay style. And then the third gets you the player card icon and the Assault badge. Or like here for the engineer, if you want to get the M136AT, it's a guided rocket launcher. So yeah, pretty vital core gameplay mechanics in here. I kind of wish that some of the core gadgets were just based on your level, but this is how they've chosen to do it. And then the unit challenges are more about camos, and you can track these and get different camos. I'll show you those in a second. And then this one is campaign, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show you that on this embargo yet, so I'm going to leave that for now. But there are certain unlocks that you get in the campaign. None of them are guns though, and it's mostly cosmetic, but one of them is a melee weapon. Here's a look at some of the camos.
Okay.
For the assault class. I mean, that white one there, that's going to fit right at home.
What's with the
Season 1
glitchiness?
stuff when they do the snow.
Like, why do they add a
New York
glitch?
map. Got some nods on that guy. Get loud. This is one of the pre-order skins, I think. And this is the Phantom Edition. This one, I don't know. It just says promotional award. But that's the only skin I've seen which actually has kind of bright colors on it. Most of the others seem pretty grounded and realistic.
That doesn't
so
stick
far,
out.
which is good. Yeah, and that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this.
I'm sure that's the only... I'm sure this is going to be the worst it's going to be. Where's he camouflaged in? What's he doing with that? A rave? Where's he going with that? Anyway, there you go. All right, chat. That's going to do it for me today. We'll be back in about 40 minutes or so over on 30 and Still Gaming, playing some video games with Mr. Luke. If you guys like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We'll be back tonight. If you don't want to come over and look at the gameplay that we're doing, we're going to be doing some podcasting tonight over on this channel right here, 30NSG. Also over on Twitch, 30 and Still Gaming. So if you like that, come on by tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern for Generation X Gaming, a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Appreciate it very much. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
They said it was the best deal in gaming. Oh, funny how best cuts your heart. I bought a dream, but the price kept climbing. Locked inside a system, all the fun was declining. Pay to connect, even solo feels like a test. Greed in the code, yeah, it never ends. Soft swim chains holding me tight. All the value promised gone overnight. We played by the rules, they laughed as I bled. Greed's a disease, planting seeds instead. This generation will be remembered for greed. All I wanted was fairness, instead I got the feed. Remember for greed, we only got the feed. Console prices rise and trust runs dry. Studios vanish, but they still reach sky. Pain in floods while the fun slips away. Dreams sold in pieces, left in shades of gray. On keywords dry gray. Every update promised a shiny new hope. Buried in fine print, they tightened the rope. We played, they profited. It's an old dirty game. Generation of greed. Remember the name. All the value promised is now all fake. Loyalty used, how much more can I take? Greed in the system, no one escapes. Players rise up, time to reshape. This generation will be remembered for greed. All I wanted was fairness, instead I got the feed. Remembered for greed, we only got the feed. Greed in the code built into the plan. Microfees ripped right from our hands. We loved our games, they love the cash now. Loyalty burns at corporate crash.